This is what happened during that 18-hour period.
18 hours. That's all it took. The Earth had not even fully turned on its axis before this prominent part of Black history here in America was destroyed.
18 hours and people's livelihoods just completely uprooted like that. I imagine just in those 18 hours, just chaos on the ground. I don't know if you can kind of paint a picture in terms of what it was like for people, Black people living there. I mean, was it just a constant state of fear?
Following the Red Summer of 1919, there needed to be an igniter or an event tossed on the embers. And that trigger event happened on May 30th, 1921. It was an incident that involved two teenagers.
Well, this was Dick Rowland, who was a shoe shine boy. I think he was 19 years old, and there was a Sarah Page, who I believe was 17 years old, a divorcee. They were in an elevator in a downtown building.
And then he's going into the one place, the Drexel building, where he can go to the restroom. She opens it, he gets in, appears to have stumbled on the walkway between the outside of the elevator and getting on, stumbles and grabs her hand. She screams, maybe hit him in response to you're on me or whatever. And someone hears this in the Renbergs building. So they hear this, and this is reported as an attack. And so this creates the narrative going through the community that a Black man has attacked a white woman.
Renberg's employee called the police, and she said, actually, I've been assaulted.
The local newspaper here, the Tulsa Tribune, running this article claiming Rowland had assaulted the 17-year-old white elevator girl. Page had refused to press charges, but the article read like a call to action, with the headline saying, quote, "Nab Negro for attacking girl in an elevator." But many survivors remember a second article in the Tribune that day.
The Tribune had come out and told about the incident of Dick Rowland, the shoe shine boy, in the elevator of the Drexel building. And they said, it looks as if there'll be a lynching tonight.
Notes were put on people's houses all throughout North Tulsa and surrounding counties. It said, "Ian, you be out of town by May 30th or else."
To date, no copies of the second article headline exists anymore. In fact, all microfilmed copies of the Tulsa Tribune from that day have been purged, adding to that conspiracy of silence. And no matter what the headline said, it inflamed a large crowd at the courthouse where Rowland was.
The white community comes in big numbers when he's arrested because of this, and the Black community comes, and basically there's a back and forth between the communities of go home, we'll take care of this, and then of course this concern that maybe this will not be taken care of in the right way. And there were lynchings that had occurred, not just for Black people, but for whites for law breaking. And so the Black community is concerned, and they're wanting to watch out for Dick Rowland. Not necessarily because they loved Dick Rowland, but because they did not want to see another Black person who was lynched for something that he did not do. And those who did know him said this was not some kind of character that he would have.
The two groups would meet in mayhem. Survivor Robert Fairchild describes being confronted by the white mob.
I said, "What are you doing with that pistol?" He said, "I'm going to use it if I need to." And he said, "No, you give it to me." And he tried to take it from this fellow, Barry. And when in the scuffling, they started shooting with one another.
Newspapers claimed only Black people were armed, but the only person at the time to be wounded by gunfire was a Black man. That man, shot in the abdomen, writhed in pain while a white mob blocked medics from taking him to a hospital. Onlookers would watch as that man died in the street. Less than 100 feet away, the body of another Black man was found lying in the street. That story told by Ed Miller, who was just arriving for work when the massacre began.
Went around the corner at the side door. There's a Black man behind me. He's trying to get in too. We're both trying to make the same door and no luck. And I said, I think I'll go ahead try that for the alley. By that time, some fellow crooned around the corner and pulled a gun on us down there. And I said, "Hey, I'm white." I knew he was shooting at the Black man. I said, "Give me a chance to get around the alley." So he said, make it snappy. So I did. By that time, the black boy, he decided he'd cross over and go to the other alley. And he got in the middle of the street where this fellow shot him. And he shot him there right on the streetcar track.
And things went from bad to worse within a few minutes.
There's a hill here, a Standpipe Hill, but there was a machine gun on Standpipe Hill, and they were firing down on men, women, and children. Wholesale murder.
In the midst of the massacre, the young girls of St. Mary's Catholic School were having graduation ceremonies.
All of a sudden, we heard all these shots, and they were shooting through the windows, and shards of glass came down, and we were just scared to death.
Ruth Sigler Avery Parker would become a vital part in telling the story of what happened in Tulsa on that day.
And I heard this peculiar, heavy movement of cars, and it wasn't ordinarily like that. And I looked out and I saw 2 truckloads of bodies going by.
Even the black churches weren't spared. Rumors swirled about ammunition being stored at Mount Zion Baptist Church.
The report out that church was built to start a riot, which was the biggest fault that ever was done. That church was built to worship and praise God, and we'd have a decent place to worship.
And that church, dedicated just a month before, gutted. The entire Tulsa Police Department was called out. They were stationed in a line between black and white Tulsa. Their orders, pretty simple: keep the black people from coming back into white Tulsa. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma National Guard was put on standby. Shortly after midnight, a telegram sent to the military authorities in Oklahoma City. It read, "A race riot developed here. Several killed. Unable to handle situation. Request that National Guard forces be sent by special train. Situation serious." As the National Guard made its way to Tulsa by train from Oklahoma City, a fierce gun battle was raging in Greenwood. Massacre survivor Clarence Fields was a World War I veteran. He served without firing one shot. And he only returned to Oklahoma to be engaged in a more vicious battle.
I was shot at. The bullet hit the wood, and the splinters split me into my arm. Every block or two, we'd meet some officer, some captain of the group, would say, "Get those hands up,"
With hands held high, black men, women, and children were corralled like animals into the convention hall. All this while planes were being used as weapons against them.
And I was coming down Greenwood, and the bullet hit the ground on the floor, down the pavement.
An airplane came and dropped. I guess we would call them firebombs now, gasoline in jugs and set them afire,
Many refute the claims that planes were used, but historians are certain something was being dropped from the sky.
You can call it turpentine, you can call it a bomb, you can call it incendiary devices. It was something that caught the house on fire. I think it's sort of, it's sending us to a different direction from the reality that this is the first time that we're attacking with airplanes a community within the United States. We're attacking our own. And this is a documented example where racism created the circumstances where we attacked another community that was our own, and it happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921.
By midday on June 1st, Black Wall Street had been destroyed. By definition, destroy means to put an end to the existence of something by damaging it or attacking it. Another definition is to, quote, ruin emotionally or spiritually. This is exactly what happened in the Greenwood district of Tulsa, with the exception of one thing. The spirit of Greenwood would persevere through the atrocity that was bestowed upon them. But we'll get to that. The ramifications of this massacre would not just end with those 18 hours of horror. They would go on to haunt survivors for the next 100 years. The bodies of loved ones never recovered. Those who thought they were part of the American dream, living real-life nightmares.